Hello, from welcome to Invest. We talk about investing, finance, and professional development. For today's systems only, the investment I'm going to talk today will be Ethereum TKTH. First, I want to say happy Monday, everybody. A great weekend, by the way. With respect to recording time of 9:50 a.m. on the Eastern Time, Ethereum currently trading $4,689, up about 1.33% so far. With respect to overall crypto market, is relatively green today. Beside Bitcoin, seems like just kind of trading on a sideways fashion. So is Dogecoin, kind of down about 0.8% respectively. And on the altcoin side of the house, I would say it's leaning more towards a bullish momentum. And for Ethereum specifically, there's been some positive news that's been percolating around on the media front in the last 48 hours so far. And just want to apologize firstly with respect to not posting yesterday. So yesterday, I'm not sure what happened. On Saturday I was relatively okay. I spent a day with my family. Went out in the city. Actually watched a show on Broadway as well. So it was a relatively good day. But on Sunday, not sure what happened. I probably caught something and I was really lethargic. And despite me, being a workaholic, and I always try to push myself, my body was really tired, and I just could not function. And I know I don't have hopefully I don't have COVID, but I am definitely feeling lethargic, and my throat definitely hurts. But I've been doing research on the symptoms, and I've already got my shots as well. I even got my booster shots like a while ago. So maybe it is more of a delay effect that I'm having right now. But anyways, I plan on just maybe taking it light, like maybe this week. Try to get more water in me. Try to eat more balanced diet, I guess. Even though I do so already. Maybe this weekend I was eating a little bit too much junk food. I was eating pizza. I was eating soup dumplings. I was eating uh, fried tacos, all that stuff, without really caring about my typical dietary cadence, if you may. So I guess that's what's happening. But anyways, and also I don't want to speak too loudly today. So because I want to conserve my voice, I do have some meetings across today. So let's just dive into the news one by one, shall we? So the first one, Cointelegraph about 1 hour ago talked about community-driven token built on Ethereum supports an entire ecosystem for manga and anime collectors and artists. So this is seems like there's some connective tissues between Ethereum as a value proposition and the ecosystem of manga or anime, the Japanese comic books or the cartoons that is highly popularized. I'm not really an anime fan, nor do I know any specific anime or manga, but I do have friends that actually are great fans of this ecosystem. It seems like there's more commercialization between the value proposition of Ethereum and with the manga ecosystem. So it's something that obviously capturing that large growing industry, which I believe anime is around close to about billions of dollars on the annual sales just on manga anime. So it's a relatively large industry that is untapped by other asset class financially. So Ethereum being that forefront of it is definitely something we appreciate for long term wise, right? And then next one is talk about Bazinga about 5 hours ago. Talk about just some of the recap type of recurring news I've been hearing so far. With respect to loopring, with respect to the surge on Bitcoin, Ethereum. So this news is really just talking about what's been happening, what has been the top gainer so far. So nothing really substantive to us to really worth mentioning. Then the next one is talking about Decrypt about a day ago. It seems like the news are not that active this morning for some reason, huh? Even though it's on Monday. And yesterday, despite me not posting, and apologies again, it seems like there's not a lot of activity that's going on right now. But Decrypt is talking about basically reminding us that Bitcoin Ethereum sets all-time high, as we saw, right? Bitcoin hit 69 $1,000. Wow, respectively for Ethereum, it hit this 4,871. Right? Well, Solana briefly, it's been surging up. It's up about 2.22% at the moment, but we have tested a much higher level, right? It seems like the bullish momentum is still sustained, and it seems like it's slowly catching up with respect to the momentum that Ethereum has been propelling so far, right? And the last one is on Kevin O'Leary's news again. On Bazinga, it seems like CNBC's talked about it, Decrypt talked about it, and now Bazinga is reminding us again that Kevin O'Leary currently has 10% of his portfolio invested into crypto. So seems like he's bullish on it. He talks about some of the key investments, like he obviously holds Bitcoin, he holds Ethereum, but he's also mentioned some like type of hedge investment vehicles like Solana, Cardano. He even talked about Shiba Inu for a little bit in the article as well, but he didn't say anything about investing in it, but it's quite interesting, so feel free to take a read. So let's just dive right into the technical. So that was really it on the news front, and apologies, my voice is a little lower today because I want to conserve my voice and also conserve my energy. I did try to sleep in last night, but it definitely sucks when you are not feeling at the top of your performance level, right? So with respect to current level, up about 1.4%. We're still overbought, right? We formed a death cross recently, right? So that's why we're selling that down. But with respect to the current level, it's being sustained by public investors or retail investors, if you may. So there isn't really specific news that's really driving upward or downward, but we're still overbought, right? So risk versus reward ratio is not the most favorable because we've been searching for like basically the last 50 days so far, right? So it's either we sell back down or we keep leap up and away, right? But do you want to test your luck? That's really your risk aversion, right? So I personally would just be holding and just watch how the price will appreciate going forward. If it sells, then I will opportunistically incur more risk by dollar cost averaging at the bottom levels that we've identified here, right? So Bitcoin right now it's at the 60 out of 70 still, right? So same thing in terms of risk versus reward ratio. Do you want to take that bet on like betting that it's going to keep going up? I think long term wise it will, but in the short term wise, I think more opportune time will be coming when we hit like 57, when we hit like 52, when we hit like 48, when we hit like 43, right? I think these are more respectable level for us to incur additional risk based on how the technical is set up right now. Dogecoin right now is leaning downward with the 50 out of 70. And at the moment right now, I think we are at the verge of basically selling back down to somewhere around like in more respectable area around 23 to 20 cents, which I would ideally dollar cost average at those levels. Cardano right now is basically contemplating we go up to the 230 again, or do we go up to the 210 or 220? It seems like we got canceled out so many times that it's better to probably wait until we get to deplete the level of the 201. Somewhere around like 187 to 201 would be more respectable. Solana right now is still at the death cross with the 62. So ideally, wait for it to cool back down again to somewhere around like the 130 to 113 would be more respectable based on how the setup is right now. It's a more consolidated level. XRP right now is in the middle around like 120 technically, right? So I think at the level of, if you want to incur more risk, I think right now we form a death cross. We can see that clearly, right? It's a cross section downward. So we could go back to the 110. If we break 110, we're going to go 101. And I think 101 is a much better level because of the fact that it was the 55 out of 70 right now. Polkadot right now at the 51 out of 70. So ideally buy it somewhere around like the 33 all the way 25 would be more respectable. But incurring some risk around like 42 is not a bad level, but just know that you might have a strong leap down to the 34 from here. ALGORAND is forming a death cross slowly, so ideally I would wait until we come back down to the 160 to 152. Shiba Inu right now is still in the bearish state with more depleted, which is good, right? So ideally buy somewhere around like the 2,750 to the 900 from here. So with respect to risk management level, as we deplete the RSI back to below 35, as we deplete back to the preliminary golden cross, right? That's the best setup in a technical perspective for us to incur more additional risk, right? So I think the safest thing to do right now is probably just like hold and wait off, right, until we continue that oscillation, that upward momentum, right? Right now is the risk is not really in your favor if you incur additional risk at the moment. But if you want to incur risk right now because you feel like it, that's totally fine. Just hold it for a long term and be prepared for volatility coming. And that's always the way to go. Patience will always outwin the short-term performance, right? So hopefully this is helpful. Apologies again for not posting yesterday. I was not feeling too good. And when your head is just foggy and when you are just feeling, tired, despite drinking like coffee, as I'm always drinking coffee, and it's not the healthiest thing to do. It's like kind of pushing me up to sustain a certain energy level, but eventually you crash. And I think you guys been telling me like, hey, you should take some time off, you should rest, and I'm not good at that, and that's something I'm learning how to be better at. I really appreciate you for your patience and your friendship and your care. But I'll try to get better by taking some time off. But really appreciate you, and stay tuned for us to come up. Take care. Bye.